Hi everybody, welcome to Linden-Linthicum United Methodist Church. Great to see you today. We are talking about prayer for several weeks in our church and about the different times and the different reasons that you pray, and we're using a set of prayer beads to help us with that. And the second bead we talked about yesterday, and has bumps on it and knobs on it, and it's not smooth to the touch. And so we kind of have put up an altar hanging, I guess, to demonstrate that a little bit. Instead of something beautiful and shiny, this is burlap. And so it's really, really rough to the touch. And underneath there are bumps. We have some things underneath to make it bumpy. Maybe you can see that. It's rough and it's bumpy. Because life is like that, right? Sometimes life is rough and sometimes there are bumps along the road. That's not an if, it's a given. It happens to everybody. Some people seem to have more of those bumps than others, but we all have them, and we all have difficult times. And we all have to figure out how it is that we're going to work with that based on our faith. Is there a way that God and our faith in God and our following of Jesus can help us when the road gets bumpy, like it always does and always will? James, the book of James in the Bible, talks about this just a little bit. And it gives one set of advice about this. This is from James chapter 1, beginning with verse 2. It says, "My brothers and sisters, think of the various tests you encounter as occasions for joy." Okay, and I'm going to pause there. Occasions for joy? That's kind of hard, right? And then goes on and says, "After all, you know that the testing of your faith produces endurance. Let this endurance complete its work so that you may be fully mature, complete, and lacking in nothing. But anyone who needs wisdom should ask God, whose very nature is to give to everyone without a second thought, without keeping score. Wisdom will certainly be given to those who seek." Well, couple of things there. One is endurance. You know, sometimes getting through a difficult, bumpy time in life is just a matter of hanging in there long enough, enduring whatever it is that you need to endure so that you can move through to the other side. James says that endurance brings about maturity and growth in you as a person, in me as a person. And then the other thing is to ask God for wisdom. Now, sometimes I think that we think that wisdom is asking why. Why do I have this pain in my body? Why did this bad thing happen in my life? And that understanding that is wisdom. I think perhaps that James is suggesting something else. That the wisdom comes in understanding how it is that we can use these difficult things that happen in our lives, these bumps, this rough patch, how we can use those things to make us more complete, more mature, and more able to move on in our lives as a blessing to those around us. So when stuff happens, and it will, and it does, there'll be times that are rough, like this burlap, and there'll be bumps in your road, like there are on this table underneath this burlap. But when those things happen, remember that getting through it, just getting through it, is a gift and is an exercise in maturity, and that God desires to give you wisdom. Maybe not so you can figure out the why, because there isn't always one of those, but so that you can figure out, what am I going to do with this? To learn, to grow, and to be a blessing to others. Go in peace, my friends. Amen.